So I want to make this video as a continuation of some sort to the last video that I made. The reason is because ANIFEM has a goal. It is a goal that they try to strive for. The only problem is that they have a little bit of issue on pinpointing the obstacles of their goal. The actions that they do at this very moment do not contribute any progress to their goal. In fact, in some ways, it actually distances itself so far from it. So I'm gonna try to at least get things straight and make sure that they come into the right direction. So I was checking on my Twitter page and EVA Unit 1 has a conversation with ANIFEM, which I find quite interesting. Let's check out the conversation, shall we?
Update. Why are so many men supporting ANIFEM, plus other questions?
Now, this is an article that they made on responding to some of the questions that a lot of people asked regarding ANIFEM. We're gonna get to that. For now, let's get to Mombot's response.
Two things. One, your stated goal is to make anime more hospitable to women. How? And once you did, what then? Two, according to the data from EASS 2008, anime is equally consumed by both genders in Asia. Women in 30s watch more than men. If your goal is to making anime more hospitable for Western feminists, you will be challenging the norms of both genders in Japan.
Then ANIFEM responded with,
the goal is to make Western fandom hospitable for Western feminists. We're not trying to challenge or change anything in Japan.
So from that tweet alone, I think ANIFEM has illustrated their main goal. They want to make the Western anime fandom to be more hospitable to Western feminists. There are a couple of questions that rise from that particular goals, and I think the most important one here is this goal implies that the Western anime fandom is hostile to Western feminists. That begs the question, why are they hostile to you in the first place? So I'm just going to show you a few sentences from one of your writers and a huge contributor to the site, and I'm going to let you guys to figure out where the problems lie, because it's not that hard.
Mr. Otaku, tear down this wall of TNA!
Because you are offended by TNAs?
And then the otaku shrug their shoulders and go back to conversations about who the best girl is, whose waifu is trash, and how irrational anyone must be to stop watching a show as soon as female characters show some TNA.
Is this your perception of how the anime fandom works? Because that's very stereotypical of you.
Here's a thought. Maybe critics would be more enthusiastic if the face of anime weren't pro-Gamergate anti-Ghostbusters trolls.
The face of animes are people who are active on bringing out ethics and corruption within game journalism or journalism in general, and people who didn't like Ghostbusters 2016. If you want to demonize a particular fan base, using any of those labels are not exactly effective. It's actually making your arguments a hell of a lot weaker.
Step 1. Change the conversation.
AKA telling people what's the right topic to talk about.
Step 2. Send a message with your money.
AKA buy animes that don't objectify women, which is a very redundant statement considering that you didn't even mention one anime to support your argument. Watch my last video on it.
This undercurrent of misogyny runs through the Moe Manifesto.
Moe is misogynistic and people who loves Moe are misogynistic. More details on my third video.
I'm keen for us to set up a discussion forum where fans can talk about anime and manga without being dominated by threads about best girls, drooling over fan service, or people shutting down critical conversations because they can't engage with the idea that their faves are problematic.
Again, is this how you see the anime fandom? Do you see a little bit of pattern here? If one of the people who run your site writes words like these and posts them on a popular geek site like the Mary Sue, is there a possibility that these words are in a lot of ways a very condescending perception of the anime fandom? It's almost like what you're doing there is you're trying to demonize said anime fandom, demeaning them and their hobbies no matter how completely innocuous they are, and yet here you are asking the question on why these people are so hostile to you and making a site dedicated on making the Western anime fandom to be more hospitable for you. ANIFEM, I'm gonna state your goals in a paragraph as being said by the blog post that you posted in that tweet.
It's a common misconception that our mission is to make anime content more diverse, when it's really about making anime fandom more hospitable, both for the diverse people already in it, and the people staying far away because they're certain they won't be welcome.
2 questions. 1. What makes people to stay far away from animes? And 2. Why do you want these people to get into animes? If they're not interested on weeb stuff, then don't force them to weeb stuff. And now you're saying that you want to make the anime fandom more hospitable for the diverse people already in it. Here's a little bit of a problem with that. They already are. Oh, sure, there are going to be wars on who's the best waifus are and whether or not the anime or the light novels are better, but at least these people still keep their topics in anime. Oh, sure, there are going to be infighting between the fans, but that's the risk that you should take on putting people with differences of opinions in a particular community. Communities consist of individuals. These individuals have different opinions, different thoughts, different ways of thinking, different philosophies in life, different viewpoints. If you put millions and millions of these individuals in the same room and ask them to interact with each other, their said viewpoints will clash. And clashes lead into conflicts, and conflicts lead to catastrophes. And that's the beauty of individuals, and that people will have different opinions and they can debate it to the point they would go insane about it. And you know what? That's great. Yes, I'm cool with this thing called flame wars. Because throughout my time on the internet, I've seen people time and time again sacrifice just a little bit of freedom for just a little bit of security, only to find out that they will lose both, and in my opinion, they deserve neither. You want a respectful discussion between individuals with diverse opinions. How can you do that when they have diverse opinions and their diverse opinions will clash to each other? They will create conflict, and conflict leads to catastrophes. Well, there's only one way you can solve this horrendous problem within the Western anime fandom. Have only one opinion. Have only one opinion where everybody can agree without any sorts of conflict. And that opinion, my friend, is the opinion of the Western feminists. They have to agree to everything that they say, regardless of what they're trying to claim. Oh, no, you don't have to agree with everything that we say. No. That's what they want. Just one tiny disagreement of their ideology, and that's problematic. They consider moe as misogynistic. They're gonna consider basic disagreements as misogynistic. I don't trust people who claim that they want to create a better community, especially when their methods of doing so is to sacrifice just a tiny bit of freedom. To quote Thomas Jefferson, I prefer the tumult of liberty to the quiet of servitude. Now, am I saying that you guys should be all kind and good to the Western anime fandom? Well, no, you can choose any attitude you want. But since your goal is to have more hospitality within the Western anime fandom, changing your attitude into a more positive one is gonna be the action that benefits you. Give your respect to them. Be honest. Be kind. And don't expect anything back. Just be kind to people. That's it. Human beings can be assholes sometimes. I can be assholes sometimes. And I'd rather have their asshole attitudes bite them in the ass later rather than put them into slavery for Big Brother now. Yeah, I believe in karma. Sometimes they work. And I don't believe that indoctrinating people to agree with you is an ethical way of putting disagreements aside. Now, here's the thing on my opinions on ANFM and channels like Feminist Frequency. I don't mind them existing. In fact, they should exist because bad ideas need to exist, because that sparks discussion, that sparks conversation, and conversation about ideas are always engaging. We can't purge bad ideas because, objectively speaking, there is no such thing as bad ideas. There are only ideas. Ideas are going to be tested in its public marketplace. How good and bad ideas are only exist in the eye of the beholder. And in my eyes, the ideas that AniFem give to me is very bad. And I'm going to criticize them for it. So to conclude this, if you want to create a hospitable community of anime fans to Western feminists, you might do a little bit of check on your attitudes to anime fans so far. It's either Newton's third law or basic karma. Figure it out yourself. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.